Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to another video. This one is a lot less technical. It's more mindset, more so putting your head in the right place, which as I've grown as an entrepreneur, I've learned is the only thing that matters. As much technical information as you take in, as much as you learn about methodologies and models and actual practical systems, the only true thing that matters is your perception of yourself and of the world. And that's really it, okay? And so in this video, I wanted to talk about probably the most important sort of paradigm shift that I've personally gone through, which is removal of ego in order to obtain success, okay? And really practically what I looked like before and what I looked like after. And now, of course, I'm a 19-year-old young man, okay? So there's a lot of ego still there that I have to get rid of. I'm very aware of that. And I can literally look back a month, 2 months ago and look at like some of my text conversations. I'm just like, ugh, like I'm an egotistical brat, you know, and everybody is though. And so it's an interesting thing though. Ego keeps you sort of plateaued. And here's why. Very practically, in very measurable ways. Because in order to stay where you are, in order to prevent growth as an entrepreneur, you have to feel like you have it all figured out and you don't need any help, okay? That's pretty much what most entrepreneurs feel like all the time anyway. They want to be the man, they want to do it themselves, they want to feel like they're worthy of something. But the reality is that the more you want to prove something, the less likely you are to do it. Because your desire to prove something is going to force you to take shortcuts in order to achieve that thing. It's like steroids, for example, or like, you know, steroids for like athletes, like bodybuilders, or like, you know, Olympic runners, or taking shots of whatever to increase their performance. They have something to prove, you know? And when you take shortcuts, inevitably, anybody who takes shortcuts inevitably fails. Because with leverage comes risk and more opportunity for structural failure, okay? And that's just how it works. Time and time and time again. If you're gonna build a house, you know, you build it on rock, not on sand. Even if it means you have to walk 10 miles to get to rock and the sand is right there, you walk 10 miles and you get to the rock and you build it there. And ego will tell you, just have a house. Who cares how long it lasts? Let's make it big. Let's build it on the sand right here, right now. Everybody's going to see it. Everybody that's walking on the beach, they're all going to see it. It's going to be right there, and it's going to be lovely, even if it only lasts a year and a half maybe. And that's what ego does, is it takes something that I think is ultimately a wholly good thing to do, which is to aspire and to try and overcome, and it turns that desire into shortcuts. And it forces you to take shortcuts. And so let's talk about sort of who I was maybe a year ago, okay? Maybe even 2 years ago. Let's do 2 years ago to really make a big leap here. 2 years ago, my best months were like $2,000 months. It's my best months. $2,000, maybe $3,000 if I was really lucky. Now I've got clients that pay me that all the time, okay? $3,000, $2,500, $2,000, $4,000. That's kind of like my range for a lot of my services, right? And that kind of money is no longer that hard for me to obtain. Not because I've done anything special, but because I've slowly built brick by brick my head, my mindset, and also an actual business. Okay, of course that helps a lot as well. But what's actually changed? What's the major shift ego-wise that happened there? Well, the main thing, it's a couple things. First of all, it's being willing to look for and seek out help, okay? When you think you have it all, when you think you don't need help, when you think you can figure it out by yourself, there's some truth to that. There's some truth that your ability to just figure it out is one of your greatest assets, and I agree with that. But if you don't have the right information in your head, if you don't have the right people surrounding you, if you don't have the right environment, if you don't have the right inputs, you're not going to have the right outputs, right? No matter how smart you are, if your IQ is huge, I don't care, right? it matters more than anything the people that you have around you, the support that you have, the love that you have in your life, the people that care about you. That's more important of a mindset shift than listening to like Gary Vee all day or some crap like that, right? Far more important. Next thing, after, thinking you have it all together, is celebrating the tiny successes as if they're larger than they actually are. Now, there's a difference between being content, or not being content. There's a difference between recognizing successes and celebrating them and recognizing the trajectory that you're on versus thinking that, $2,000-$3,000 a month makes you a baller, like I thought like an idiot, right? I was like, and the problem is too, I'm local in my area. I live in Indiana, for those of you who don't know, right? Live in Indiana, and most people here are dead broke, like absolutely dead broke, okay? It's also one of the highest obesity rates in the United States, which also doesn't really help, right? And so it's very easy to kind of look around and begin to compare, and that's just a virus. You have to get rid of that. And I know that you're probably in a similar position, right? Where if you were beginning to make any money, and I know you probably are, it's really easy to begin to compare. Don't do it. You're not better than anybody, right? That's another thing you have to accept, is that no matter how much success you have, you're just about the same as everybody else. We all have the same struggles, we all have the same desires, and we're all gonna die, right? And we all came into this world the same way. So there's nothing really truly that separates anybody other than emotional, non-existent social status, okay? So you gotta get rid of that too. And the reason why is because otherwise you will be content with $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month, because that's enough to separate you. That's enough to kind of make you special. And if all you really desire is to feel special, then I'm sorry, but you're going to plateau very quickly. Okay? So the first thing is not being willing to look for help. The second thing is kind of that desire of feeling special, or I guess the desire to be noticed in a certain way. I don't really remember what I said the second point was a second ago. I kind of forget what I phrased it as, but that's the best way I can come up with. The desire to kind of be noticed. And that goes on to the third thing, which is a desire to be praised. Ego will make you want to be praised. And the problem with desiring praise is, again, that it will make you take shortcuts. Praise is easy. Praise is cheap. Really, really, really easy to get praise. Stupid watches. You can buy stupid watches. You can buy stupid cars. You can buy stupid houses. You get a lot of praise. You can look good on social media. You get a lot of praise. You get a lot of likes. You get a lot of comments. People thinking that you're cooler than you actually are. Praise is cheap. Avoid praise. Praise will hurt you. It will kill you. I mean, there's a proverb in the book Proverbs in the Bible, which talks about, sweet words are like, when given out of your own mouth, they're like honey. It's good. It's good to give sweet words. But when receiving them, be careful. Be very, very cautious about sweet words coming your way. And recognize them for what they are. When anybody gives you a sweet word, they are reflecting on themselves. They're saying, I want what you have. And so therefore there's a certain responsibility on your part to give them that. And that's one of my callings as an entrepreneur, right? So those are 3 things that ego does to you, right? Keeps you complacent, makes you take shortcuts, makes you want to be noticed. And these are things that a lot of starter entrepreneurs struggle with, because a lot of starter entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs because of their massive raging ego. So be careful with that. And be very aware of when it's coming into place. Because in order to get to where I'm at now, and I don't share my income, that's the difference between me and a lot of people right now. I probably will eventually. I probably have to eventually, because some people ask me for my proof, right? So I probably will eventually. But the difference between $2,000, $3,000 a month and where I'm at now, which is substantially larger than that, right, is primarily my lack of a desire to be noticed, to be seen, to be praised, right? And you might be wondering, well, then why are you on YouTube making this video? Well, first of all, this grows my business. Second of all, people need to hear it. And lastly, I feel called to it, right? And so I encourage you, if you're in a place right now where your desire is to be seen, to be noticed, to be praised, if you want, people to rub warm butter on your back, proverbially, with their words, with their, with how they talk about you behind your back, then find a better motivation, because that's only going to take you so far. It does not take much to get praise from people. It's very easy to get praise from people. All you have to do is have a little bit of something that they want, and you're going to get tons of praise from people, right? It does not take much. So eliminate that, find a greater cause, and stick that in the center of your business and of your life, right? And I encourage you as well, this is something you should probably do. I've actually written out a bunch of principles that I follow, okay? You should do the same. And, there's all kinds of things on here. For example, number 3 is valuing client satisfaction far above personal profits. Taking the short end of the deal every single time. That's one of the principles that I follow in my business and in my life as well. Whenever I do anything for anybody, I want the short end of the stick, and I want to consent to having the short end of the stick, because it's better for everybody involved if I do so, right? There's all kinds of stuff in here, and I think one of the principles that you should adopt is that whenever you notice your ego coming into play, that you find a better motivation within minutes, right? And so I kind of need to wrap up this video, because I feel like I've made as many points as I can make in a short YouTube format. But I encourage you that if your only desire is to be noticed, to be seen, to be valued, to, and I'm also rereading a book right now. It's called Wild at Heart. It's about the male sort of soul, right? And it comes from a biblical perspective, so it might not be for everybody. But one of the things that most men struggle with, especially, and I know most of my audience is men, I know most entrepreneurs are men. There's a lot of women entrepreneurs, they're out there and they're great, and I've coached a lot of them, gotten a lot of success with them, but it's primarily male, right? And one of the things that we struggle with is a desire to kind of be recognized, and kind of, not only that, but feel like we've overcome something, right? And typically it's because our fathers didn't give it to us, or it's because, we didn't really have the right encouragement growing up. There's little moments when you're growing up where, if you don't get the right encouragement, then forever you're going to compensate for that. Forever. For the rest of your life, right? Because that's kind of when you're getting your base program set in stone. And a lot of people aren't encouraged that much when they're growing up. A lot of people don't really fully have the self-recognition, right? They don't fully have the ability to look themselves in the mirror and say, I am who I want to be today because I've put in the work to be there, right? Even if they do put in the work, even if they make millions of dollars, they most often never feel as if they've achieved the thing that they want to achieve. And that's the problem, is that it's driven through ego. If you're driven through ego, you're always going to feel that way. You're always going to feel that way, no matter how much you make. And I can attest from experience that is very much the case. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up the video. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, comment, whatever, subscribe. Developing the course today as well, the social media marketing agency sort of blueprint course. I don't really have an official name for it. I'm kind of bouncing around a bunch of different names. It's still in beta, but you can enroll. It's $647 right now to enroll. And we've got, I think, 30, 40 people in there right now. And that's a lot of fun getting these people results. There's some people in here that are saying that, the price of admission is still too low, even though it's just beta. And so that's been a lot of fun to develop. So if you want to start your own social media marketing agency, check that out, link in the description. If you'd rather just have a free training, I have another thing that you can check out. At the end, I talk about the course, but you can still register for that. So thanks once again for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.